So this is a series of salads that we're gonna make out of just shaved cauliflower. And I feel like with vegetables, there's so many more salads out there than a traditional green salad or, a tomato fresh mozzarella salad. They can really be a side dish on their own, and especially when you're putting multiple different types of salads together to make a full meal, you get lots of different textures and flavors and colors, and it really makes for a whole meal. That said, there's only so many vegetables that we generally have on hand, and it's not like for a middle of the week meal you're gonna pull together a big feast of cardoons and whatever else fancy thing you don't see that often. Maybe you are, and that's okay too. But for me, I tend to rely on things like cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, the really hearty vegetables that you can buy if you're going to the store only every couple of weeks and that are going to store in your fridge just fine. And cauliflower is maybe one of my favorites of those because it is endlessly changeable. It has a very neutral flavor but a nice crunch to it, and so you can make all sorts of different things out of it. And my favorite way to have it is just having it raw, like you would on a veggie platter, but instead of having it in the little florets that we've always seen, shaving it into thin wafers. So if you're taking a head of cauliflower like this one, I've cut it in half down the side and then cut it again into quarters. And that just gives you a nice flat surface that you can be working with. So with your knife, I like to get in and cut away the core and then peel off these leaves. These leaves are good to eat if they're not especially brown like these are, have a little bit of kind of that slipperiness, then I would pull them off and you could saute them in a pan with some olive oil, a little bit of onion and white wine, and have that as a side too. But for right now, for our purposes today, we're gonna discard them. And then to shave it thinly, all you're doing is just cutting it really thin. So you can use a knife, you could use a mandolin, really anything. And I like to just go slow, hold your cauliflower with your free hand, and it's gonna shred a little bit and it's gonna fly, but that's just how it goes. It's a little bit like a kitchen confetti. And I like to just kind of slowly go down the sides so that you get these nice kind of cross sections of it. So you're getting lots of different textures. So ones that are thicker like this and thinner like that, that's all fine. They're all gonna go together and give you some textural difference within the cauliflower salad itself. So as you go, if a stray one like this one falls off, just flip it over. And with this, it's a little bit easier to handle, so you can go a touch faster. When it starts to get unruly, wobbling around on that side, just give it a flip and go through again. And if that feels like too much, then you can just break down the individual florets and keep going. And so that one head of cauliflower, 1/4 of the head of cauliflower, has already given us a nice pile of shaved veg that would probably feed 2 people as a side. And if you were to combine that with some beans or something like that, it's gonna be a full entree portion. So for salad number 1 of our variations on a shaved cauliflower theme, I really love smoked whitefish mayo. It is effectively just making a mayonnaise, whizzing up an egg, drizzling in some oil, squeeze of lemon until it makes a nice thick mayonnaise, and then adding some smoked whitefish or tuna or mackerel, anything like that, and blending it up. It's an Italian condiment. They call it tonnato. I call it mayo. And so what we're gonna do is take a little bit of our shaved cauliflower, put it into a bowl, and then with some olive oil, just give it a nice little drizzle, and a pinch of salt, so that you're seasoning kind of each component along the way, and just giving it a nice little toss to coat the cauliflower in a little bit of that oil and salt. Now, as soon as the salt hits the cauliflower, it will start to pull some of the water from it. So it's better to do kind of just before serving. We've got our plate down, and what I'm gonna do is spoon a little bit of this smoked whitefish mayo on the bottom of the plate, which is where the richness is. And then heap the cauliflower right on top. Do a couple leaves of arugula. You could also use something like a radicchio, any sort of kind of slightly bitter, peppery green. Endive, frisee, any of those chicories would be great. And then a little bit more arugula over the top. I like to do just a little squeeze of lemon. And you could certainly toss the arugula and the cauliflower together. It's easier to control how it looks on the plate if you do it in separate layers. But if that doesn't matter to you, toss it all up in a big bowl and be just fine. And then to finish it, just a few pumpkin seeds. You could also use something like sunflower seeds or some chopped up almonds or pecans, things like that. And then you've got a really nice little salad that would go great as a lunch in the summertime or alongside any number of other dishes for a main course. So for salad number 2, we're gonna make another cauliflower salad, but this time scooping up some of the cauliflower, and instead of dressing it with olive oil, we're gonna dress it with some chili oil, which is just neutral oil, so a vegetable oil, soy, canola. This is grapeseed oil. And you heat up about a 1/4 cup, add a couple tablespoons of chili flakes to it, and then let them kind of fry in that oil. Take it off the heat, add some more neutral oil to drop the temperature so you don't burn the chili flakes, and then let it steep. So this has been steeping for about a week or so, just been on the shelf and doesn't need to be refrigerated, and you can just spoon it over any type of hot sauce, sort of like a chili crisp that you would see in a lot of grocery stores, like a sambal or sriracha kind of part of the thing. And then we've got the cauliflower, chili flakes, some dates, which will give it some sweetness to pair against the spice of the chili. And then this is just a bunch of herbs. So I would normally use either cilantro or parsley or something like that. This also has some radish microgreens in it, but you could use any type of greenery that you've got, even something like baby lettuces, anything that's gonna have a bunch of flavor to it. Little pinch of salt went in as well. And just stir it up so that you're getting an even coating of the salt and the chili oil. And I really love something like this. And let's just do one big pile of it. So I really love a salad like this to go with something like black beans, quesadillas. You could have it with like grilled summer squash, and anything that's gonna have kind of a creamy note to go alongside the spice and the sweetness of this salad. And that is salad number 2. This is shaved cauliflower with dates, chili oil, and herbs. For salad number 3, yet again, taking some cauliflower and putting it into a bowl. We're gonna dress it with some olive oil and salt. We're not really making a dressing in and of itself because we're gonna add these roasted cherry tomatoes, which have acidity in them as well. So that's where you're gonna get the pop of brightness for this salad. And this is another one that we're gonna kind of build in layers so that we can see all of the different elements together. So we've got our roasted cherry tomatoes, our baby kale, and then also some breadcrumbs. So on the plate, we'll start with a little bit of baby kale. Just a couple leaves. And again, if you're at like a picnic or something, it would be ridiculous to build all of these as individual salads. So just toss it all into a bowl and stir it around and that'll be just fine. So a little bit of kale, little drizzly, little pinch of salt, spoonful of the cauliflower, and then a couple dots of these cherry tomatoes. So these are just cherry tomatoes that have been roasted at about 350 degrees with some olive oil in them until they burst, and then their liquid reduces. You could also use fresh cherry tomatoes if you had them, whatever sort of tomatoey kind of product that you have I love using these, especially in the winter time. I'll try to put up as many into the freezer as I can in the summer and then pull them out in the winter for that kind of fresh, bright tomato flavor. So again, a little bit more cauliflower on top of the kale. A couple more tomatoes. And then I feel like every single salad, I can't think of one right now that isn't better with a little bit of garlic breadcrumbs over the top. It gives you a nice crunchy texture, a little bit of richness from the garlic and from the oil, and then the heat of that. So then we'll just brush in all those crumbs. And that is salad number 3. It's shaved cauliflower, roasted cherry tomatoes, garlic breadcrumbs, and some kale. All right, so salad number 4. Fourth shot to use up some of the shaved cauliflower. So we're gonna put the last of what we shaved up into the bowl. This is a garam masala yogurt or a curry yogurt. It basically just takes curry powder, fry it in a little bit of oil to bloom the spices, and then add it to the yogurt so that you're getting kind of a nice yellowy color, and it's really perfuming all of that yogurt. Along with a pinch of salt. We're gonna stir that up to evenly coat the cauliflower. And like I was saying before, cauliflower is such a mild flavor that it really pairs well with things that are stronger, in the sense of something like a garam masala, like a chili oil, like those roasted cherry tomatoes that are so flavorful, and they really just need a kind of sidekick to it, and the cauliflower can play that role. So to make our salad, got our plate down, and we'll spoon it into the center. And you do a couple of herbs. This is a mixture, again, of cilantro and microgreens, but it would be perfectly at home with parsley, or even a little bit of basil would be nice with this one. A little bit more cauliflower on top. And some extra greens. And then over the top, I'm gonna scatter, these are pan-roasted chickpeas. So chickpeas out of a can, a little bit of hot oil into a frying pan, fry them up with some salt so they get golden brown and a little bit crunchy on the outside, but still soft and creamy on the inside. You could also do them in an oven. So get a hot oven, maybe 400, 350 degrees, and then toss them with some oil and salt and let them bake until they're crisp. You could also use something like chopped almonds, crushed pecans, anything that's really gonna give you kind of that crunchy but creamy texture with it too. And so this is our 4th salad. Shaved cauliflower with curried yogurt, crispy chickpeas, and a bunch of herbs. So that's it. That's how you can take a single head of cauliflower, shave it thinly, and then make any number of different dishes. You've got everything from spicy and sweet with chili oil and dates, savory and rich with the smoked whitefish mayo, arugula, and pepitas. We've got a curried yogurt with crispy chickpeas and herbs, and then also the really tangy roasted cherry tomatoes with breadcrumbs and kale. So anything you want to do with them, you've got cauliflower for days. We use the same vegetables year in and year out, but it never has to be the same meal.